Hi Divine Rebels, Bohemia with Bohemian Stars and Ocean Heart readings here, and today we are doing a reading that is about nurturing others, how we can be more nurturing and loving to others. We have some beautiful yet maybe deep messages coming through here, and yes, I'm really feeling the vibe. I'm going to do a little smudge here and get into it. Oh, I might be out of messages. All right, well, I smudged after the last one, so I guess that's a sign that we're good. I mean, not out of messages, out of matches. Okay, so we'll just leave that. That's that. So we have very heart chakra centered energies today, how we are nurturing, loving others. Number one, our option is Unakite here with the green and the pink. Number two is the sphere that is peach moonstone. Number three is this pinkish colored seashell. And number four is our beautiful super full lithium quartz. So 1 Unakite, 2 peach moonstone, 3 pink seashell, and 4 lithium quartz. So go ahead and choose your option, and I will see you on your timestamp. And big ups to everyone who watches it through. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, thank you for helping the channel grow, and big ups to all of our new subscribers. Hey, we appreciate y'all coming through and joining the channel, fam. So let's get into this. What's poppin'? Let's see, how can we be more nurturing and loving to others? And I think I mentioned that decks will be listed down below. Also connects for a personal reading if you want to go ahead and get some services done. Yes, so for number one, those of you that chose the Unakite here, how can you be more nurturing to others? We have fairies, words. We have insecurity. So this is the fairy tale oracle. It's like real fairy tales, like the original fairy tales, like that are deep. Okay, if you want to do some truly intense, like childhood, early life, reclamation, cleansing, all that kind of stuff, and get to the truth of things, this is a deck to do that with. We have insecurity from the Chakra Wisdom deck. We have wisdom. And we have the King of Swords here. All right, so let's get into this message. Let's give us some room here. So this fairy tale here with the fairies is about we see the dragonflies. Dragonflies are very Aquarian energy. Some of you are Aquarius here, or it's to be in better control of Aquarian type energy. Here we have an expectation for you to be more mindful of your words and your communications to others, to not be so severe. So if we look at this King of Swords, we always talked about on the unboxing how he has like a slice through his eyebrow down through his eye, kind of like scar. So it looks like he's been through some battles. Maybe it even changed the color of his eye there. You know, very severe, harsh words that he's endured, which can cause some insecurity here, as we see, as much as they've given wisdom to you. And in this message here of the fairies fairy tale, what happens is there are, of course, some sisters who are nice, some that are not. And in this tale, the one who is nice goes to a well, right? To that deep spiritual place. And there is an elder lady who begs some water of her. So she gives the elder lady to drink of this sweet water that she works to get from this deep well. And so she is blessed that her words on the outside reflect the depth of sweetness of her spirit. So when she speaks, jewels fall out. There's all these different jewels and lily flowers that fall from her lips when she speaks. So she goes home And even the dragonflies and the creatures of the forest are so amazed at this, right? She has this external beauty that's matching what's within her thoughts and her words. And of course, we find, a mother figure and a sister figure, very Cinderella-ish, who are jealous. And so they go and send one of those sisters, well, why do you get the riches? We should get some. And they're not very nice. And so one of them goes back to try to trick, thinking, oh, I'm going to see this old crone and I'm going to give her water so I can get riches too. Well, what happened was that the crone knew, because she's wise, and so she showed up as a fancy queen instead. And the sister snubbed her and would not help get water, would not be kind and compassionate, basically told her move along. And so she instead got a curse of what her insides reflected, which were like toads and worms and things. And the story goes on. The one who spoke sweet words was punished and got sent to the forest, but ended up, meeting the king, or, getting married and being respected and all this kind of stuff that they do in fairy tales, but basically showing that the happily ever after of finding love and respect and abundance, and being valued for that internal worth that she had. And the other one had a horrible death. Fairy tale stuff. So this here is a big message that it is really, really time to truly watch your words from the inside, because here we see that reflected in a very cartoonish depiction of like the devil figure here, trying to get to that heart chakra. It's very important that you stay extremely heart-centered, and that even when you're giving wisdom to others, that it is done so in a way that is not oh, I'm wise and that's why I'm telling you this, when really there is cutting and shaming and harm that is coming to the other person. You can be more nurturing by not using group dynamics against that person, not using the fact that you can be very witty and good with words or grammar in order to cut others down or kind of nitpick and nag at them. So kind of that Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Virgo kind of energy that can become extremely critical of others. So how you can be more nurturing is to use your wisdom from a place of security. Use your wisdom like the crone in the story. Be the one who blesses those who are, sweet and kind-hearted, and she didn't take advantage of her or just dismiss her because it was easy to gloss over her. She instead recognized the worth within that person and was able to nurture that in her, and to show the outside world what beauty lay inside of this person who was so glossed over and mistreated by others. So it is really important that you give others the ability to speak for themselves, to be acknowledged on their platforms, to not have to feel insecure and picked on, but that you give them voice, that you co-sign when you see someone standing up for themselves, when you see somebody trying to put up boundaries, when you see people that are really working hard to just claim the space that they deserve, and really that's putting beauty into the world. Really refrain from lashing out through the words of jealousy or harshness. So kind of picture that. Am I speaking death unto myself by speaking out of jealousy and hatred and shade and envy? Or am I speaking life unto myself and those around me? Am I speaking abundance and showing the beauty of my heart by the words and thoughts that I'm having? So this is something, when we nurture others, we nurture ourselves even more. And the dragonflies are a symbol of that. They're the symbol of kind of eternal youth and immortality, our spirits that live on in all of their just different facets and transmutations or transformations, metamorphosis, it being very important to do. And so, yes, you're never too old that you have to become cynical, that you have to become overly judgmental. That's not how that works at all. What can happen is that when we think that we know a lot and we're expert on things, we then become, harsher at anyone that dare, try to shake our beliefs. So it's like, have true wisdom is different than knowledge. And so remember to be wise and not just know it all or knowledgeable. Okay. Your words are so powerful, and how you, connect with others, how you build others up, and letting others have their words as well. So speak from a place of love. Feel free to show that heart-centered energy, and you will be so much more down the path of just really lifting people up and speaking a lot of nurturing energies into them. So that is your reading. I hope you enjoyed. Those of you who chose Unakite, I will talk to you soon. Okay, I had to pause the video because I noticed it was recording vertically, which means I'm gonna have to flip it in the little flipper thing. But now we are horizontal, as we should be. So here we are for those of you who chose number 2 with the peach moonstone sphere. Let's see what we got here. Oh yes, here we have the goose girl, which is theft. We have impartiality. We have honor, and we have the high priest reversed. This is a very, very deep one. This one is talking about making sure that you're not taking from others. In this story of the goose girl, what happens is that there is a princess whose mother passes away. And before she dies, she had given some of her blood on like a handkerchief to protect the girl. Literally, ancestral protection and blessing. Here we see the high priestess reverse. Well, in the story, the high priest, or the princess, as she's being escorted to the kingdom where she is supposed to be taken care of and, find a spouse later on in life, as she is being escorted by the girl who is her servant, the girl who is her servant decides that if she takes the symbols of the princess's identifiers, like the seals, like the special goblet, things of her inheritance from her, that she can go and have that life and leave the princess to be the servant. So what happens is the servant refuses to help the princess drink from the river, and this is her occupation, what she was paid to do. So she has to bend down and get it herself. One of these times she loses the blood protection of her mother. The handkerchief falls into the water, and the servant takes that opportunity to then rob the princess of her other markers of identity. And so when they get to the kingdom, she the servant goes and pretends to be the princess. And of course, in a fairy tale, this is a parable, so she's not a very nice person. It's not like Robin Hood, right, stealing from the rich to help the poor. She's ruling horribly and treating everyone miserably, and the princess is made to suffer. She even had a magical companion, a horse, who is beheaded by this servant so that there's no witnesses, her only friend taken from her, and she has to go and tend the geese. The princess does. The princess who no one knows is a princess. And so this story is about what can happen when others try to steal ancestral rights from those that they shouldn't. It's about theft and, appropriation and gentrification and all those kind of things, right? Because her kingdom gets taken over that should have been her inheritance, and she has to go try to seek refuge other places. It's a story of refugees. So to be more nurturing, some of you really have to start addressing the way you treat refugees, the way you treat migrant and immigrant people. the way you might take from your family, friends, or others, their personality qualities, things that are their belongings, things that are their content, their business plans, their, whatever it is, just kind of having this klepto way of going through life and always taking what belongs to others, because we're trying to see how can I become more nurturing. Well, this is a big flag that would prohibit this. And it can say with the High Priestess reverse that your intuition might really be off on that. You might even have some ancestral history of, belonging to a bunch of thieves or something, right? Maybe you're being supported in a way where it's like, that's not good. That should be something that I should be breaking, is the whole going in and colonizing or what have you. So this is saying to really look at how much you might take from others energetically, how much you might take from others of their style, their ideas, their ways of being, and then isolate them out and kind of cut off their ability to speak for themselves or to show that they are where that stuff originated. Okay, now we also have impartiality. So in here, this person's carrying the weight of the pain. This goes together so perfectly. There's a lot of grays here. So for a lot of you, a lot of this is gray area. It's almost like, like in this one, the only person who knew the truth got beheaded, the magical horse, and he ended up still being able to talk and help. And she ended up confessing. All this stuff happened, right? They ended up finding out, reversing what happened, all that kind of stuff. And the person who was mean, the mean servant that became a queen, ended up dying by the way she had said she would punish someone else who tried to take her space, right? She ended up making her own downfall. But here we have someone who looks like royalty who is carrying these paints, right? And paint can be a symbol of covering things up, of making someone out to be how they are not. So it's very important that you have honor in the way you connect with others, and don't take the easy way out when, someone calls you out on how you treat them, when someone calls you out on maybe not deserving a certain position that you place yourself in that others have worked for, or being, envious, or having jealousy of things. We touched on that a bit in number 1, but there's a lot deeper context here. Right? So this could also be, I'll always, whenever I see themes of spiritual gaslighting or bypassing or anything like that with the High Priestess reverse in combination with the story, with the impartiality, those could definitely be things that are coming up. So you are asked to not paint people the way that you want them to be while putting yourself in a better role, but to see the honesty of the situation, have some honor, right? And really, honor is more than just hearing out the story or just admitting you're wrong. It's rectifying the situation so that those dynamics of injustice no longer exist. And to be more nurturing, you have to become the High Priestess upright, that's willing to look at those secrets. These pillars reflect the pillars of justice in tarot, and people forget that sometimes. There is an element of justice that is there with the High Priestess. It's that justice that seems out of reach and unprovable, but it's there, right? Things becoming much more black and white, where people were trying to skate away on indifference and apathy and partiality and pretend that they don't know that they're taking advantage of you. Okay, so I think number 2s, you came to this reading, so you do want to be caring and nurturing to others, but there will be some big lessons and some tough spots to look at yourself and how you interact with your loved ones, or for some of you, it'll be with the people at large. Bigger issues like we talked about, immigration and things, appropriation, making sure that you are just not taking what belongs to others. I'm even getting within families where there's like stepchildren or adopted children. There's this whole, that's really deep in this story, that they waited until the protection of the blood of the mother was severed to go in and swoop in and take advantage, right? So to nurture, you can really have the advice here to work on your discernment with the High Priestess reversed, because you might not have a very good nose of when, like, who's right in a situation, right? So you're like, oh, I'm just being impartial, I'm just being really good, but that's not honorable. What's honorable is knowing who the bullies are in the situation and who the innocent are. Being honorable isn't saying, well, I'm not going to pick and choose because I'm being fair and love and light, blah blah blah. That's not honorable at all. What's honorable is saying, okay, like there's a child not being fed, someone is causing that to happen, we're going to rectify the situation, this child's going to get fed, okay? And so hands-on, really actively deconstructing the situations, reparations where they should be, recompense where it should be, you know, really stepping into more justice in a moral sense, in a spiritual, behind the scenes sense there with the high priestess is really required in order for you to be the true nurturer that your soul's really wanting to be, why it came to this reading, okay? So please take that with an open heart and to, you know, really just basically allow yourself to reach that capacity. Because if we're asking, how can I do this better? And it says, oh, this, that just means that, you know, we have the capability to work on that. That's why we're asking, and that's why Spirit took the time to tell us so. And then you can be someone that has so much honor, right? And I'm seeing the hard work, even like, you know, when people are practicing, they're studying like a physical discipline and they have to like chop wood, carry water, they say. They have to like run holding buckets of water, carrying things on their back. Like they have to really break themselves in. Even in this, she does a lot of tough work. It's like kind of like do that spiritual work, do the spiritual heavy lifting, not just sitting in the glow of you know, feeling like, oh, I'm clean. You know, it reminds me of, I grew up really strict religious, like when people are just like, yay, I got baptized, woo, I'm awesome, I'm going to preach to everyone else, and then I'm perfect and sparkly, and then they don't do any of the actual stuff that you're supposed to do to be a good person or to be, you know, a community person or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like forget all of that. But hey, I got the sparkly part and I'm great now, and I get all of the abundance and good spiritual kudos for that, right? So that is the advice, to not go into that, to not take those. For some of you, it's temptations. It's hard not to bite off of other people's shit for you. It's hard for you not to go and copy someone's YouTube videos, okay? And it's funny that this is happening because my videos get copied a lot. Like people watch my videos and then take things that I've done and my hashtags and my jokes and stuff and make videos, and they've been doing it for a lot of years, y'all. It's a lot of them. So I'm just, you know, the part of me is interested how many chose this option. But you know, this is about being able to allow people to have their authenticity without needing to feel this kind of gnawing hunger, emptiness inside that wants to take that for your own and say, well, I need it in order to be spiritual. I need it in order to be fulfilled, so I'm entitled to it. All right, be honorable, be honorable. And that is a huge way that you'll bring so much love and nurturance to others, and you know, help people be who they really are and be able to maintain their birthright and their connection with their ancestors and their spiritual gifts that they are meant to do, right? So that is your reading. Thank you so much for coming to this reading and caring to look into more ways that you can be nurturing to others and hearing this tough medicine. I really appreciate that. I will talk to you soon on another one. All right. Gonna have a lot of cards to have to sort out over here. For those of you that chose number 3, number 3, how can you be more nurturing to others? We have fair, brown, and trembling gifts. Ooh, I love how that pops right there with those colors. We have passion. And I love these colors. Orange and like aquamarine-y, ocean-y colors are my favorite. We have joy, passion, and joy. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed and the Wheel of Fortune reversed. see if we can get more orange. Very sacral energy. Sacral and throat chakra, and the fact that it's very creative and expressive. Okay. See if I can get that in. Oop. Okay. So for you guys, number 3, how you can be more nurturing to others, we have the story of Fair, Brown, and Trembling, an Irish tale. Again, there's the similarity that kind of American audiences would notice that with Cinderella might be something that you related to a little bit. There is the one sister who's very shy, Trembling, who is very beautiful but never told so, and the other sisters who are more obviously beautiful to others, Fair and Brown, who are more popular and more kind of celebrated and allowed to exist and take up more space. And so one time when they are away at church in like the town square, Trembling is visited by a crone, by an elder woman who comes and blesses her with, you know, new garb and jewels and a horse to ride into town and birds upon her shoulder. And she is told to go to the church and sit outside of it where everyone will see her, but to not go in. And so it's just like this tale of reclamation and kind of having, again, on the outside, the recognition that you deserve for who you are on the inside, and for finding your place and realizing where you're different from others and where you are equal to them. And so in this story we have the respect for magics and medicines, the respect that we can love those who are of a different religious path than us, but that doesn't mean that we deserve to be persecuted or have to go into that religion with them. There is the nurturing of seeing somebody who's a wallflower and speaking their greatness into them, you know, fanning that flame of just how wonderful, just how much of a joy, how much of a muse they are. And it's very much that energy. We have a lot of like Jupiter energy, so like Sagittarius, Piscean energy in this, oranges and aquamarines. We have some Virgo energy here, but the Virgo is reversed, so it's coming out of that critique of self and realizing how perfect you are all along. So these are things that you can help others do. You can help remind people how talented they are, how beautiful, how gifted that they are, how passionate they are, how much joy there is yet to be experienced. And this passion card, this person is needed to be reminded that there's life out there to live. They've already, you know that quote from Éowyn in Lord of the Rings? Now, Éowyn, if you remember, she had to watch her uncle, the King of Rohan, sit there because of magic and depressions and stuff, basically just kind of become a corpse as he was there alive, literally covered in webs and stuff, and just, you know, not himself. And he eventually comes out of that and becomes that king that she loved, that uncle she loved so much again. But when she is asked by Aragorn, what does she fear? She says that she fears a cage to, you know, basically until use and old age have taken all there is to take, and you have, you know, any valor or hoping to do great deeds that time has, like, you know, been forgotten, and any desire to even accomplish it has gone away, you know. And this is about you encouraging people to not slip into that, you know, stagnation, to not slip into complacency or the roles that others cast them in. That no, you don't have to think because of your age or because of your health or because of the beauty standards that you can't come out and accomplish what you want and be joyful and be, you know, just have so much to offer, to have so many talents that are out here. I feel like you can be very encouraging to those who are differently bodied than us in society. And I say us in society like that because I feel like you are going to be aligned with people who will say that to you. I'm not like you. I'm not like you. And you might have to talk them through and nurture them through. You are us. Like, we are all, humanity together, while at the same time validating who they are in their own body. So changing, that's the change that I'm seeing. Changing, oh, that's a way that you guys nurture. Changing who we identify as us when we say society. Are we including all genders? Are we including all types of beauty, all types of bodies, all types of identification of self, all different religions, all different races? You making the effort to make sure that you are always completely inclusive of all of those demographics when you say us, right? No ageism, no ableism, no racism, no homophobia, none of those things, but to really, really grow that energy that you are this magnitude of safe space for everybody to come and thrive, and always seeing the beauty and so on, seeing who they are within and helping them bring that on the outside. That is so beautiful. That's such a talent, such a gift, and yet so natural, right? It's just how it should be. And I think that's what's beautiful about you, is you know that. So I think you're someone who is so great at helping believe in others, that they have gifts, like I said, very Sagittarian and Piscean, where, you know, you can tell a Sag and Pisces, you'll accomplish anything, and they can see it, they can believe it, they know that you could, you know, you're like, Sag, I'm gonna become a mermaid, and they're like, oh man, I'm gonna become a centaur. This is awesome. Do you want to ride to the ocean? Let's road trip. So I feel like that is just like, bring others joy, bring them passion, but also remind them that they are joy, they are passion, that troubles don't last. Troubles don't last. Some of you are creative. I'm hearing that you're creative. You do music, you do art. Remember to remind others of that. Remind others, I'm feeling like the collective energy, that you are so precious and important as an individual, but we are all connected. And again, not in an erasure kind of way, not that colorblind stuff that people say. No, in a real way, where you see individuals so much that they know that we are all community and that we are truly safe space. You thrive as an individual, we all thrive as individuals, and we create this beautiful collective together. You know, multifaceted and just so wonderful to be in together. So remind others to dance, to go for their dreams, to think outside the box, to claim who they are regardless of who watches, that they are valued in their identification of their you know, religion or race or whatever they are. That they have not lost out on time. Some of them really feel like they've lost out on time, or that their body's just not the same. I feel like you will really nurture people in their changes, in their changing times, in their transitions, okay? That will be when they need to hear those beautiful words of wisdom from you, and just that love and that appreciation, and just that, hey, let's go out and live. Let's go out and live. What are you passionate about? What brings you joy? Let's do it. Let's go out and have a good time. So you guys have such a beautiful energy. Don't be afraid to speak up. My throat chakra is feeling choked up and nervous. Like I said, there's a big aquamarine throat chakra energy, but it's in a beautiful, sweet way. And this one, she actually has trouble speaking up. She's very shy. So you guys might be able to, some of you, okay, I got some of you even do speech therapy or art therapy. That's beautiful. You even do rehabilitation for others. That's amazing. Okay, yeah, you might teach different languages to others and help people communicate in different ways. That's beautiful. So those are ways you can actually be nurturing to others, teaching them how to speak different ways, teaching them how to communicate. Yeah, so there is your reading. I hope that you liked it. It's such a beautiful one. I appreciate it so much. I'll talk to you soon. All right, for those of you that chose number 4 with the lithium quartz, let's see what you got. How can you be more nurturing to others? We have the Nixie of Mill Pond, memory. We have mysticism. We have intuition. And we have the devil. All right. So what I get from this one, this fairy tale is all about this fairy tale is about like a father who gave his word to the pixies by this pond, and didn't realize until afterwards that he had promised the firstborn son of his in order to receive a favor. And so as time goes on, this son has a very hard time going near water. He's charged not to go near water because then they can claim him in the pond there. And so there's a big thing about him not having emotions and love and feeling and going to the water to be claimed in these ways, right? And so then he ends up falling in love, and it breaks the enchantment enough that he starts wants to see the moonlight on the pond, and he gets taken by the nixies, the pixies, right? So this is about how things from the past, these readings have been so cohesive, like this ties together so intensely with intuition and mysticism and the karmic energy of the devil. This ties together with how things from the past and past lives, past contracts we had earlier in this life can really come back to affect us and those around us. When I was drawing these cards, I actually drew the piles face up. I got this very, very strong feeling of oh, it's upstairs. I'm sorry. I thought it was the baby here. I got this very strong feeling of people who want to force growth on those they see as their soulmates or twin flames. Want to kind of have a bit of spiritual superiority, or kind of rush others through their time frames of what they need to learn, when really the best thing to do is to have spiritual wisdom and to allow people to break through their own kind of karmic bonds and enchantments just by loving and just being present and nurturing, not by trying to go in and change their fate and have a savior complex or force them into more contracts and bonds by what you're putting upon them or what you are obsessing about them. No, you nurture best by being able to decipher things like this. Use your intuition by, using those spiritual gifts that you have to say, oh yeah, our astrology does show these dynamics, and that's why until we work that out, a relationship's not going to work this lifetime. And being conscious of those past contracts, those past patterns and dynamics, instead of forcing a person into a relationship or trying to force that situation, knowing that there's these other themes going on and that those aren't healed yet. Another example is I've seen people who have a partner who is like overcoming addiction, and as soon as that person gets out of the short-term program and are trying to adjust at home, they unleash all of like the demands and the pain and like the burden of every decision in the world onto that person who's trying to recover and focus on their healing, and it sends the person right back into that spirals them right back into those depths. So to be more nurturing is to give people space. They have to heal at their own pace. They have to come free of their own karma and learn their own lessons and get rid of their their own entrapments and addictions at their own pace. And it is better to sit in a place of understanding that, using your intuition and mystic tools such as this to become more aware of, okay, this is what's going on. That's what that contract was. This is their astrology. This is why when they're angry, they want to express this way. This is why when they're sad, they withdraw this way. Those kind of things. Use those mystic resources, but then leave it at that and just let them unfold in their own way and go through things their own way, and focus on also working on your your life through mysticism, going through your own doors and continuing to grow, versus kind of turning around and thinking that you can save this person. Yes, there are certain things that you do open up in others, as this person did open a door to help this this young man love in this story and break some enchantments, but the other things were not hers to resolve. It had to do with his father and contracts way outside anything that was pertaining to her. And so I think that happens a lot in relationships where people are really trying to live their own soul path and grow and learn. And then, you know, there's a person who considers themselves spiritual who is very obsessed with them and throwing in all this interference kind of energy because, well, I want you to be my soulmate and we had this past life, so you need to come do this. Like, man, they're trying to survive. They're trying to deal with so much and like break generational curses and addictions and all this. And, you know, that's not all that some people care about, is just a soul connection to one person, or they might have to go many different paths to heal their side of that connection, whereas you may not. So this is about freeing people from, you know, bonds that we've made them form or that we entered in maybe together willingly, but that are now toxic. And that being a form of nurturance, to have the wisdom and the, you know, sometimes not even, you know, supreme wisdom, it's just having the awareness of that's what it is now, and letting that go. Because otherwise we're very much that person who is, you know, the Nixie taking away the child from the father, but they're taking now a grown person from their life and their love that they chose to go and have, right? And so again, very similar to when we hold people to stuff that was before we planned this lifetime, things of that nature. And now they're a grown person with their own free will to make different choices and decisions. And sometimes we need to love and let go and just understand that, okay, yeah, if we're mystic, intuitional, spiritual crown chakra beings, which is a lot of the vibe of this reading, it's way better to let that person go and have their cycles than to drown them in all of this deep energy and sorrows and pain and all of that. So that is nurturing, to allow toxic bonds to go, to allow people to go find the rehabilitation, you know, as they need to, and not to try to be too close to people. It is actually kind of part of the message of this, to have some space and detachment when things are too toxic to hold up close, to not have to fix everything and have control of everything in an up close manner because you think that others cannot heal or resolve situations without you being the one pulling the strings, or because you are afraid of losing somebody. Right? So it seems strange because when we think of nurturing, we might think of Cancer energy, bringing someone close, putting those claws around, tucking them in our crab shell with us, right? Virgo is the same kind of. Virgo will like ingratiate themselves into every aspect of the person's life and want to just, you know, be part of every single decision. But that's not always what it is to nurture someone. Sometimes it's giving them space and just having wisdom and understanding of, okay, I understand what's going on, and I release the situation to unfold the way that it needs to unfold, and I will not be a part of weighing this down or being an obligation or any tough, you know, toxic part of the situation. I will free up my end so that maybe, you know, I won't be the anchor pulling you to the bottom of this pond because of old stuff, old memories, old habits. So freeing people from the past, freeing people from who they used to be while they try to change as well, is a way that you can nurture. All right, so that is your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I'll talk to you guys soon.